Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. In this program, we're going to find out about DC Multi-Sport and an upcoming event involving youth and a triathlon. And I guess those things go together. Let's find out about that. Joining me in the studio is Michael Kern. He is the president of DC Multi-Sport, and Beth Head, who is the race coordinator for the Youth Triathlon. First of all, let's find out about DC Multi-Sport. Michael, you've been the president now for almost 2 years. What exactly is DC Multi-Sport?
Actually, we've been organized for a little over a year.
Okay.
For the most part, we're trying to promote health and well-being and exercise, and we welcome all comers. So whether you're into walking, running, biking, swimming, that's what we're here to do. We're trying to put on some events, one of which we'll talk about today. We've helped put on the Heartland Half Marathon last year, and we're going to do that again this September. And this year we're also going to have an event called the Ferdinand Fondo, which is similar to the Hilly 100 in Bloomington. It's a 2-day bicycle ride across various parts of the county. So.
And when we talk multi-sport, I think almost everybody always thinks of it's a running club, but it's really not, because it's multi-sport.
Correct.
What are some of the different sports that people bring to the meetings and talk about?
Well, actually, we've sponsored some things that are football related, and,
okay.
and I think we had something else that was, I think, golf related even. So yeah, I mean, we're basically about just getting out, being healthy, and being active.
Okay, and that could be a little bit of everything. It doesn't matter whether you're an amateur or a pro.
Correct.
Okay. Now, one of the big events that you have is what Beth will talk about, and that is the Youth Triathlon that is coming up. And what are the dates on that?
That it will be take place on July the 27th in Huntingburg. The race starts, of course, in the city pool there in Huntingburg, and the course is around that neighborhood in that area, and the run takes place in the park, and the finish will be in the Bomber Stadium. Okay. So it promises to be a really nice event, and we're very excited about it.
Now, this is a triathlon
yes.
that the youth will be involved in.
Yes.
And so what are the tri?
Well, we will have, for children 6 years old, we'll have what's called a splash and dash, meaning they're going to swim 50 meters in the pool and then run a half a mile. And then for the older kids from 7 up to age 14, they'll compete in the swim first of all, and then they'll transition and get on their bikes and ride a bike course, and then they'll run and finish. That's the last leg of the triathlon. Okay. Is always the run.
Always the run? Does it have to be that way?
Is that like an unwritten rule? I've ever been to a triathlon that did not end with a run, but I think the wisdom of having people swim first before they're tired is probably the reason for that.
Well, they also dry out then while they're running.
Exactly.
Or riding.
You get dried off on the bike, and the run is always the toughest part for me. I don't know. I'm not as a great runner.
There are books on the history of triathlon, and in the beginning, back in the 70s, when they tried it different ways.
Yeah.
The other ways didn't
last
work out.
long.
Always have to end with a run.
So it kind of became this.
Okay. And what's the idea of doing a youth triathlon and not an adult triathlon?
Well, youth triathlon is really exploding in the United States. I first got involved in the sport in about 2004, and I took my kids to their first youth triathlon in 2009. And just in the period of time between 2009 and this year, the number of races available for youth has just exploded in Indiana as well as all over the country. The interest in youth triathlon is really increasing. In fact, USA Triathlon, the governing body of triathlon, has made an effort in the last several years to really support the growth of youth in the sport so that the United States can be more competitive on the Olympic level in triathlon. So there are growth of youth teams that are training together all year round, and it's really been exciting to watch as I've taken my kids to races over the past several years.
Will this be a sanctioned run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess there are, I don't want to say kids, but youth, young adults who are competing in this, but they're also competing in other areas, and they're garnering points?
Sure.
How's that?
Well, there are races hosted all over the country. Okay. The Hy-Vee, which is a chain of grocery stores in the Midwest, as well as The Iron Kids World Triathlon Corporation has the Iron Kids branded race series. There are other race series for youth. And I mean, we've been to races all over the country, and it's nice just in the last couple of years that there's a lot more races closer to home. There's a race series in Indianapolis, and then our race will actually be part of a series with races in Columbus and Seymour.
Okay.
That'll take place this summer.
Now, this race then is going to be bringing people from all over the place. This isn't just real, I mean, we want local people,
hope.
obviously. Okay. But the idea is also to bring people in.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some really unbelievably talented youth triathletes in this area of the country. There's a youth race that's been going on for a couple of years in Evansville. I imagine some of those kids may want to come compete here in Dubois County. And there's also quite a few kids up in Indianapolis that are very competitive nationally. So we may get a good turnout and see some really exceptional athletes competing here. But the point of having the inaugural Dubois County Youth Triathlon is to get local kids involved in the sport, and that's how. The genesis of it was really through DC Multi-Sport to promote healthy lifestyles and encourage youth to participate in sports. And we have a great tradition and a great sort of resources locally of people who are embrace healthy lifestyles. So we're hoping to kind of grow that in our youth with this event.
So will these kids be bringing very special bikes, or do you have to have a special bike? Is there something you need like that?
No, you
don't.
don't.
We have trailers pulling up, and teams coming out.
Well, you may see some higher end bikes. There may be a few kids who show up with sort of racing bikes, but you certainly don't need one. And no matter what kind of bike you bring, it's the legs you pedal it with that makes the biggest difference. So I've seen kids racing their hearts out on little 16-inch bikes with a basket and streamers and a bell on it. So it's
That's
really
Michael's bike, by the way.
Yeah.
You just described his. Yeah.
It's all about the kid riding it, and they don't need any special equipment. That's one of the neatest things about triathlon is most kids have a bike. And most kids have some ability to swim and run. Those are all natural things that kids do. So I think it's a really neat sport in that kids usually bring the basic skills they need to compete in a triathlon just from the things that they like to do with their buddies in their neighborhood every day.
Okay, now that sounds to me like there are some things they probably have to learn. The transition you talk about from swimming to the bike, and the transition from the bike to the run. But you're offering training that people can participate in.
I'll let Michael talk a little bit more about the training programs, but that's going to help these kids get prepared to compete in their first race.
Right, and at this age, unlike a lot of people who've been doing triathlon, when we say training, we're not talking about doing structured workouts. What we're talking about really with these guys for the next 4 weeks is just making sure that they understand what they're going to see on race day and how to do it so that they don't get confused and they don't get upset whenever they have their first race. So it's just kind of preparing them for what they're going to face. We'll also show them little tricks to getting in and out of the pool. They'll be swimming in a pool, unlike most triathlons, which happen in a lake. But they'll be getting in and out of the pool for the swim. They'll be transitioning to the bike, and there's actually ways to set up your shoes so that you can slip your feet into them quickly and get them laced up and things like that. So we'll show them all those kinds of tricks on how to lay out their transition area. And then there's rules associated with anything, and USAT, since it's a sanctioned race, sets the rules, and so they can't mount their bike before they've run it to a certain line, and they'll have to kind of practice that a little bit, getting on their bike and taking off. And so
is this thing that will parents be kind of like standing by, or are there people, I guess, friends, cousins, whoever, that might help them hold the bike, or do they have to do this alone?
They cannot get any outside assistance.
Oh, really? Okay.
Correct. No. Yeah, they're all on their own. So again, it's the reason why we're going to spend 4 weeks kind of showing them what they're going to be doing and letting them practice it a little bit, so that they feel confident that they don't need anybody to help them. They can do all this on their own.
Okay, so you're going to start these trainings or these education sessions this Sunday, the 30th, but what if somebody's got a vacation planned and they're not going to be there? Do you have to be at all of them? Or?
No, not necessarily, because we're going to repeat pretty much everything that we're going over each week. And I think repetition is the key with kids this age. But we're going to do it for 4 Sundays from 9 to 10. We're going to do it at 3 different locations so that the kids in Dubois County don't have to travel far. We'll be at Dubois High School. We'll be at the outdoor pool in Huntingburg and the outdoor pool in Jasper.
Okay, and the same
Same time,
all of those places, so they can just
all
show
4
up.
weeks, correct.
And you know, kids seem to really adapt or want to learn these sorts of things. And what a better way to spend a summer doing something like this, rather than sitting in front of TV and wasting your time that way. This gets them out doing things that I can remember doing when I was a kid, just for fun.
Right.
Sure. One of the really important things, and one of the USAT's rules for triathlon, is that when the children are handling their bike or before they mount their bike, they must have a helmet on, and they have to have it buckled. The Memorial Hospital Foundation has bicycle helmets available, so if there are children who want to participate but don't have a bicycle helmet, we can make sure that they have the proper helmet and that it fits them. Okay. We've had great support from the community, from the Hospital Foundation, as well as from Dr. Norris's Mind, Body, Spirit Endowment, and the Dubois County Visitors Bureau has provided great resources for setting this whole thing up.
And I guess we want to let people know it can be very competitive if you'd like it to be, but we don't want to scare somebody away thinking, oh, you know, it's too competitive. I shouldn't do it because I don't have the right bike or I'm not well versed in something. It's also a good fun event.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
You've heard the phrase "walk before you run." Mm-hmm. Well, in my opinion, your first race, you just do it. You participate in it, and then you start to concentrate on what can I do faster and how can I do it faster.
Yeah. The goal is always just to finish or to participate. You know, and in triathlon, that's one of the neatest thing about the sport as a whole is that you have competitors of all different levels in the same race. You know, I might participate in a race and there are like pros that are outstanding athletes leading the pack and winning the race, but I'm racing in the same race and having that same experience. And there's a great tradition in triathlon of people encouraging one another. And, you know, even when you're at the back of the pack and struggling in at the very end of the race, that pro who just won the race might come out and cheer you on and hand you your medal at the finish line, which is a really wonderful thing about the sport.
And that's also kind of the point of DC Multi-Sport is to help people to advance themselves and get better, or just stay amateurs and have fun.
At whatever level.
Yeah, get out and move.
Do they have to pre-register for any? I'm sure for the race you got to pre-register in some way, but
we have a web, actually active.com. They can pre-register on active.com, but they can also register day of the race. We're going to have that available. So if parents decide on Friday night their son or daughter wants to do this, they can come on down and sign them up.
And I guess they could also sign up at these training sessions.
Yes.
As well.
We'll have sign-up sheets or the website available. Active.com is really easy to use and a great way to register online. There also, in yesterday's Herald, there was a notice in the paper about the Youth Triathlon that included a registration form and all the information, so they could tear that out of the paper and fill it out and send it in.
Okay. Or active.com, I assume, is a website for many different youth events. So then you would look up, what would you look up?
Dubois County Youth Triathlon.
Dubois County Youth Triathlon.
Yeah, I think Active you can search by state or by the name of the event, or you know, it'll even sometimes suggest events that are near you.
Well, thanks to both of you for coming in. Good luck with the race.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, our guests have been Michael Kern. He is the president of DC Multi-Sport, and Beth Head, who is the race coordinator for the Dubois County Youth Triathlon, coming up soon. The first training or education session is June 30th. Thank you for watching WJTS in Form. We are local people watching local people.